All right, so this is chapter 7, lesson 8. So the title of this lesson is Factoring by Grouping. And grouping means that I'm going to have little small groups of numbers. So something that's really specific and special to this lesson is that you will always have 4 terms. And that's going to be something that's going to stand out to you. Like, oh, this factoring problem has 4 terms. It's probably grouping. So in grouping, I am going to, and I'm going to write the intro right here. I'm going to GCF the first 2 terms, and then I GCF the second 2 terms. So it's like the first half and the second half. I'm going to cut this 4 term into halves. So here's example 1. When I cut it in half, I physically want you to draw a line after the second term, but before the sign. So I drew it before the plus sign, right after the 2x squared. That's where I would draw it in half. I have this 4. I need to cut it into 2 and 2. So what's going to happen is I'm going to first look at the first half, and I'm going to GCF a number out of here. So I have x cubed plus 2x squared. What number or variable can I factor out of this? What's in common in these first 2? I need you to speak a little louder so I can
1.
know what variable or number is in common.
Oh, 2 squared. Wait, x squared.
This has an x to the cubed, and this has a 2x squared.
6.
They don't have any numbers in common, you guys.
6.
No. You have to physically see it to be able to take it out.
X squared.
X squared. They both have an x squared. It's like the bag of Skittles. Remember for GCF? This has 3, and this only has 2. But for sure, how many do they both each have? They have 2. So I'm going to GCF out x squared. Now it's just the first half. So I'm really stopping at the red line. So I'll even do this. Okay. When I divide out, I have x cubed and I divide out an x squared. I put my parentheses, and this is where I'm going to write my leftovers. What's still left?
X plus 2.
X. And then the plus sign's going to stay because it's in there. I can't just not include it. And then I have a 2x squared divide out an x squared. So what's still left when I have a 2x squared and I divide out an x squared? Just the 2. All right, so I'm done with that. And that 2 doesn't look very good. X plus 2. All right, now I'm going to look at the second half. I have a 7x plus 14. I want new people. New people that haven't talked yet. Volunteers. I have a 7x plus 14. This plus sign that was here has to stay like that. So, what's a GCF of 7x and 14? Huh? I thought I heard someone say it. What's the common number or variable with a 7x and a 14? 7. So put a plus 7. So I'm GCFing just the second 2 things, the 7x plus 14. If I take let's do leftovers, so I'm going to put the parentheses. If I take a 7x and I divide out a 7, what's next? Or what's left? X. This plus sign again stayed. A positive 14 divide out a 7. A 2. So I'm finished. Now, as you can see, there's something in common. This x plus 2, that's the GCF of both of them. And since that's the GCF, I'm going to pull that, now I'm going to go one step further and take out more what I can. If this x plus 2 is the GCF in common, I'm going to write it only once. So I'm going to put once underneath it because you only write it once. I know that I physically see two of them, but I only need to write it once because the x plus 2 is the same thing in both. So now, I took out the x plus 2 and I took out the x plus 2. What's still there on that second line that my fingers aren't covering up?
7 and x squared.
An x squared, that comes first, x squared, the plus sign, and the 7. So those are now the only things left. I still need to write those. So I'm going to put them in their own parentheses, the x squared and the plus 7. So you could, I guess, if you want to like not look at it, just say, okay, those two are gone, but I still have an x squared and a plus 7. All right, we're going to jump down to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to cut them in half right after the second term. You draw your line. There, and there, and there, and there. So this is grouping. This means I find out what's in common on the first half, and then I look at the second half, what's in common. All right, only look at x cubed plus 4x squared. Do they have any numbers or variables in common? How many x's do they both have? They both have an x squared. Okay, now I put my parentheses. I'm going to write the leftovers of just the front two. X cubed divide out x squared. I heard someone say x. Yes. Positive 4x squared divide out x squared. Positive 4x squared divide out x squared. Just the 4 plus 4. And I close the parentheses. Because I'm done with the first two. All right, these second two. Let's find a GCF of 6x plus 24. So I have to put the plus sign because the plus sign is what's there. I write what I see. A 6x and a 24. What's in common? A 6. That's the only thing in common. So then I put the 6 and I write my parentheses because I'm going to do divide out now. Okay. 6x divide out of 6. 6x divide out of 6. There's an x. Positive 24 divide out a 6. Plus 4. Hey, my parentheses are the same. You guys, they're always going to be the same. If they're not the same, you did something wrong. The parentheses, what's inside the parentheses, is the same. That's my GCF. The x plus 4 now is what's in common in both of these. So I'm going to factor out an x plus 4. I only write it once. And then what's still left? An x squared plus a 6. You need your parentheses to match up. Okay, number 2. X cubed plus 2x squared. What's in common? X cubed plus 2x squared. What's in common? Yeah.
X squared.
X squared. So I put my parentheses now because I'm going to divide it out. X cubed divide out the x squared. What's still left? Those of you that haven't spoken, let me hear from you. X cubed divide out x squared. Just an x. The plus sign still stays with it. 2x squared divided out an x squared. 2x squared, but divide out an x squared. Just a 2. Good. Now remember, I want my parentheses to match up. So I'm done with the first half. Now I'm going to go to the second half. That's going to be negative 36x minus 72. What's a GCF in a negative 36x minus 72? What number goes into both of those? 36 does. So since it's a minus sign, I have to put the minus sign there. I'm just following what's there. 36 and 72, you said 36, you were right. And then I put the parentheses. All right. Negative 36x divide out of negative 36. Just the x. Remember, I really want my parentheses to match, so I'm hoping it's x plus 2 in there. Negative 72 divide out negative 36. Plus 2. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Plus 2. Do my parentheses match? Yeah, yay. So that's now the GCF of the grouping. I'm going to write it only once, x plus 2. So I wrote the x plus 2's. But what's still in this problem? There's more than just the 36. What's still there? An x squared, a minus sign, and a 36. This x squared minus 36, I'm looking at it like, oh, I think I might be done. But this is something special. X squared minus 36. X plus 2 is nothing special. Just write it. But I can keep factoring x squared minus 36. What is it? X squared minus 36. What's special about 36? What makes 36? 6 and 6. It's a difference of 2 squares. X plus 6, x minus 6. That's the final answer.
Wait, you can repeat.
Just because x squared minus 36 is a difference of squares. You have to pay attention to things like that and remember from the past lessons. Number 3. All right, let's pick up the pace a little bit, guys. C fourth and C cubed. What? How many C's do they both have? C cubed. All right. C to the fourth, divide out C cubed. You're basically subtracting 4 minus 3. Just a C. Plus sign stays. C cubed and C cubed. It's itself. You put a 1. Now I'm doing the second 2. Negative 12C minus 12. What's the common number of a negative 12C and a negative 12? Huh? Oh, negative 12. Yeah. Okay. Negative 12C divided out of negative 12. Just a C. Plus 1. Negative 12 divided by negative 12, positive 1. My C plus 1 is the same. And then still there, the C cubed and the minus 12. That's in my second parentheses. Okay. The last one. 3y cubed, y squared. Y to the what? How many y's do they both have? Squared. 3y minus 1. 3y, and then y squared minus 1. Negative 21y plus 7. What's in common with the 21 and a 7?
7.
Take out, though, the negative sign because there's this subtraction in front of 21. Negative 21, negative 7. Negative 21, negative 7. 3y, negative 7, positive 7, negative 1. So my common, 3y minus 1. That's my GCF that I write only one time. And the y squared minus 7 is left. And I can't go any further with those. I have to show you guys one of the questions. This is your homework, so 1 through 6. But I want to talk to you about number 2. Okay. So I'm doing number 2. I'm starting it with you. You have an x in common up front. So it's x plus 6 there, right? But look at this. Negative x minus 6. Do I have anything in common here?
Yes.
What? Negative 1. You do factor out a negative 1. The negative sign came from there. And a 1 just means there's nothing in common. But everything has a 1 in common. And since I pulled out a negative 1, negative x and negative 1 gives me a positive x. Negative 6, negative 1, division, plus 6. Then you'll go one step further. I'm not going to do it for you, but you do the one step further. I just wanted to show you a 1 example. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop the